There's a particular kind of play that happens the moment a father drops down onto the floor with his toddler. Something shifts. The face changes. The body responds in a way it doesn't during any other moment of the day. Watch closely and you'll see it in activation that only shows up here only with him. And most fathers have absolutely no idea what they're triggering in their toddler's brain when they do it. Because the science behind paternal play is one of the most fascinating, least talked about areas of child development research. And once you understand it, I promise you will never look at rough and tumble play the same way again. Welcome to Hana Races, where we take real developmental science and Japanese parenting wisdom and turn it into something you can actually use tonight. If you're a father who plays with your toddler or a mother who watches from the doorway, this one's for you. I'll be honest, the fourth thing on this list changed how I think about play completely. Subscribe if this is your first time here. Let's get into it. Here's where most parenting advice in the West gets this wrong. Rough play with dad gets treated like a release valve, something to burn off energy before bath time, nothing more. But here's the thing. So why does the exact same wrestling match look completely different depending on which side of the Pacific you're standing on? In Japan, this kind of play is understood through a concept that has nothing to do with tiring a toddler out and everything to do with building them. The concept is called jiritsu. And once you hear what it actually means, the floor time wrestling match you did last night is going to look a lot more important than it did 5 minutes ago. Jiritsu, written self-standing in Japanese, combines two characters, ji meaning self, ritsu meaning to stand. Together it means to stand on one's own. In Japanese parenting philosophy, jiritsu isn't a game, it's a philosophy. It's not independence in the Western sense of doing everything alone. It's a toddler trusting their own capacity to handle what comes next. Here's what most parents miss. This is exactly where the research on paternal play connects. Studies following children from infancy into early childhood found that the amount of active physical play with a father in the first years predicted something researchers call approach behavior toward novelty, how readily a child moves toward new situations instead of retreating from them. Picture a 2-year-old at the park. Dad tosses her a few inches into the air, catches her. She shrieks, she laughs, she asks for it again. 6 months of that same game and something shifts. She's the one climbing the taller slide now. She's the one walking up to the new kid instead of hiding behind your leg. That's jiritsu building itself one toss at a time. Not through lecturing a toddler about bravery. Through a body that has learned over and over that new and scary and safe can all be true at once. But that's only the first piece. The second is even harder to believe. The second Japanese concept is ganbaru, and it roughly means to persist, to push through with everything you have, even when it's uncomfortable. And this is where it gets interesting. Every parent who's done rough play with a toddler knows this moment. The laughing turns, the excitement tips into overwhelm, the crying starts out of nowhere right in the middle of what looked like pure joy. Research on repair during playful interaction found that this exact moment, the tipping over, and the recovery that follows isn't a failure of play. It's part of what makes the play work. The toddler is learning that big feelings can spike, and when they do, a trusted person is right there to bring them back down. Now think about a 3-year-old mid-tantrum during a chasing game, red-faced, overwhelmed, done. A parent practicing ganbaru doesn't end the game and doesn't punish the meltdown either. They pause, they hold, they wait for the storm to pass. Then when the toddler is ready, they go right back to the game. That pause and return is ganbaru in its purest form. Not gritting your teeth through hardship alone, learning that you can come back from overwhelm and keep going. I don't do this perfectly every time myself, but the research on it is honestly pretty convincing. And this leads to something even more surprising. It's about what happens in a toddler's brain in the split second right before dad does something unexpected. Brain imaging studies of toddlers during play have found something researchers genuinely find remarkable. Right before an expected surprise, specific predictive circuits in the brain switch on. The child is generating expectations, guessing what happens next based on what happened before. Wait, it gets weirder. When the surprise lands, especially if it's a little outside what they predicted and turns out to be safe and delightful, the brain's prediction system gets crucial feedback. It learns the world is more surprising than expected, and that surprising doesn't mean dangerous. You're not going to like how simple this actually is. Dad hides behind a couch cushion while getting a toddler dressed in the morning, then pops out with a silly sound. Same trick 3 mornings a week. The toddler laughs the 15th time just as hard as the first. And honestly, this one shocked me. What if that 15th silly sound isn't repetition at all, but rehearsal, a nervous system practicing the management of uncertainty one hidden cushion at a time? which brings us to the habit I personally find impossible to skip once you know what it's actually doing. So here's what to actually do tonight, and none of it costs anything. First 2 minutes of chase before dinner. Not screen time, not sitting still. Actual movement, actual laughing, actual catching. Second build. One safe surprise into the daily routine. A hiding spot during getting dressed. A silly voice during bath time. Same trick, same moment every single day until your toddler starts anticipating it before it happens. But that's not even the strangest part. Third, when the play tips into a meltdown, don't shut it down and don't push through it either. Stop. Hold. Wait for the crying to pass. Then when they're ready, go right back to the game. Fourth, say it out loud even to a toddler who can't fully understand the words yet. Something like that was scary, and it was okay you did it. The nervous system is listening long before the vocabulary shows up. This next part is uncomfortable to admit. Most of us skip this because it feels unproductive, like we should be doing something more structured with our time. We're not. This is the structure. Give it 3 weeks. Watch who your toddler starts to become. Remember that father on the floor from the beginning of this video. Now you know exactly what was happening in his toddler's brain in that moment. Jiritsu building itself, Ganbaru taking root, one wrestling match, one hidden cushion, one recovered meltdown at a time, 2 words, Jiritsu alas Ganbaru, standing on your own and pushing through when it's hard. Both start on the floor with a father willing to be ridiculous for 10 minutes a night. If this gave you something real, subscribe to Hana Races. We put out new research every few days.